Awaken Light Audio. Awaken your mind. Ignite your light.
12 things successful people never do. Avoid these traps to win in life. Success is less about what you do and more about what you avoid. What if success isn't built on more action, but on better omission? We're always told to do more. Hustle harder, grind longer, add more to our plate. But what if the real secret of high achievers lies in what they refuse to do? Successful people don't just have great habits. They eliminate toxic patterns. They don't waste time proving their worth. They don't let emotions rule their decisions. They don't carry dead weight, whether it's regret, negativity, or the need for approval. If you want to win in life, stop asking, "What should I do?" and start asking, "What should I never do again?" Because the people who rise highest aren't always the ones who do more. They're the ones who remove what holds them back. Success is a process of shedding. Think about it. You weren't born unsuccessful. You weren't born afraid of failure, desperate for validation, or stuck in regret. Those patterns were learned, conditioned into you, and just like they were learned, they can be unlearned. Success, at its core, is not just about ambition. It's about awareness. It's about seeing the hidden traps you've been falling into, the silent habits that quietly sabotage your potential, and deciding once and for all, this stops with me. Because every time you say no to what no longer serves you, you say yes to the life you were born to build. So today, you begin a different journey. Not of stacking more goals on your shoulders, but of shedding what weighs you down. You're not here to be perfect. You're here to be intentional. Let's uncover the 10 traps successful people never fall into, and how removing them will clear your path to lasting greatness. Success isn't about perfect conditions. It's about powerful ownership. Let's begin. Number 1, they never blame circumstances. The moment you blame the outside world, you give up your power to change the inside one. Excuses are the language of the powerless. It's easy to blame. I didn't have the right upbringing. The economy is too rough. They didn't support me like they should have. And sure, some of it may even be true. Maybe you didn't have the best start. Maybe the world wasn't fair. But successful people know one truth. Blame feels good in the moment, but it robs you of the future. When you keep pointing outward, you delay the work that must begin inward. You can't lead a powerful life while living like a victim of your circumstances. Ownership is the first door to transformation. The most successful people don't have perfect conditions. They have radical ownership. They say, "I didn't get the result I wanted. What can I learn? This situation is hard, but how I respond is up to me. I may not control the start, but I choose how this ends." That mindset turns obstacles into fuel. It transforms every setback into a sharpening stone. The difference between a victim and a victor is what they do after things go wrong. Real examples, from hardship to ownership. Oprah Winfrey was born into poverty, suffered abuse, and was told she wasn't fit for television. Today, she's one of the most influential voices on the planet because she refused to be defined by circumstance. Nelson Mandela was imprisoned for 27 years. Yet he emerged, not bitter, but determined to rebuild a broken nation. Because he chose purpose over pain. Success doesn't come from easy paths, it comes from owning the hard ones. Where in your life are you still blaming something or someone outside of you? What have you told yourself is impossible because of your background, your past, or your resources? What would shift if you took full ownership starting today? You don't have to fix everything at once, you just have to stop giving your power away. The first practice, the ownership shift. Tonight, write down one area where you've been blaming external factors. One action you can take to own that situation. Starting now, say this aloud every morning, no matter what happens outside me. I choose power inside me. I am responsible for my energy, my growth, my direction. Remind yourself, you're not at the mercy of life. Circumstance is your starting point, not your final identity. Once you take full ownership, there's only one place left to go. Forward, and forward is rarely comfortable, because the next thing successful people never do is stay where it's safe, easy, or familiar. Growth never happens in comfort, and comfort never produces greatness. Let's continue. Number 2, they never stay in their comfort zone. Comfort is where dreams go to sleep. Comfort feels safe until it becomes a cage. Let's be honest, it's tempting to stay. Where it's familiar, where nothing challenges you, where nobody questions you, where you never feel embarrassed, exposed, or stretched. But that comfort, it becomes a trap disguised as peace. The comfort zone is seductive because it whispers, "You're fine here," but nothing legendary ever happens there. Successful people know the price of growth is temporary discomfort. The cost of staying still is lifelong regret. Why growth demands pressure. A muscle doesn't grow without tension. A diamond isn't formed without heat. A leader isn't forged. Without failure, you won't evolve by repeating yesterday. You rise when you challenge your limits, not avoid them. Success doesn't come from what you do easily. It comes from what you dare to do, even when it's hard. Real examples: choosing discomfort to grow. Elon Musk risked his fortune and reputation multiple times. From PayPal to SpaceX, his story is filled with near-bankruptcy moments, but he never stayed in what was safe. J.K. Rowling wrote Harry Potter as a single mom on welfare, facing rejection after rejection. But she didn't return to comfort. She kept writing in discomfort until the world finally listened. What do these people have in common? They bet on growth, even when it was painful. What goal have you delayed because the process feels uncomfortable? What fear is keeping you inside the lines of your current life? What if you saw discomfort not as danger, but as the path to your next level? If you're comfortable, you're not growing. And if you're not growing, you're slowly fading. The second practice, daily discomfort challenge. Every morning, write down, "Today, I will do one thing that stretches me." Examples: speak up when you'd rather stay silent. Try a new skill you've been avoiding. Reach out to someone who intimidates you. Say no where you usually say yes to, please. Then say aloud, "I don't fear discomfort. I welcome it," as proof that I'm evolving. Whisper to yourself, discomfort is a sign you're moving forward. If it challenges you, it's changing you. Once you step out of the comfort zone, the next big trap appears. The need to be liked, to be validated, to be accepted. But successful people don't shrink to fit expectations. They expand to fit their vision, even if it makes others uncomfortable. In the next chapter, we explore how the truly great stop chasing approval and start choosing authentic alignment. Let's move into the next point. Number 3, they never chase approval. You'll never become who you're meant to be if you're busy trying to be liked by everyone. The approval trap, a silent dream killer. We've all felt it, that hesitation before posting something honest, that fear of speaking up in case it offends someone, that anxiety of being misunderstood or judged. It feels like you're playing life on stage, constantly scanning the crowd for applause. But here's the truth: the need for approval is just another form of dependence, and no free soul was ever built on permission. When you live for approval, you filter your truth, delay your dreams, shrink your voice, and worst of all, you abandon yourself for the illusion of being accepted. Approval is addictive, but it never satisfies. You get a like, but it fades. Get a compliment, but now you need another. You get agreement, but fear disagreement even more. The more you chase validation, the more you forget your own voice. Successful people don't wait for applause. They move in silence with conviction. They don't trade authenticity for approval. They choose alignment over acceptance. Real examples: choosing integrity over approval. Steve Jobs was once fired from Apple, the company he built, because he was too intense. But instead of deluding himself to be liked, he doubled down on innovation and came back to revolutionize the world. Malala Yousafzai was nearly killed for speaking up about girls' education. But her commitment wasn't driven by public approval. It was powered by unshakable purpose. These individuals didn't bend to win applause. They stood tall to honor their truth. Where in your life are you still trying to be liked instead of being real? What message have you muted out of fear of judgment? How much energy do you waste wondering what people think of you? Every moment you seek approval is a moment you hand over your freedom. The third practice, alignment over approval exercise. Today, ask yourself before every decision, am I doing this to be liked or because it aligns with who I really am? Then say aloud, I don't need to be liked by everyone. I only need to be true to myself. Write down one place in life where you'll stop performing and start showing up honestly. Talk to yourself. Being real will cost you approval, but it will reward you with peace. Once you stop chasing approval, the next weight to release is regret. Regret chains you to a past you can't change, while distracting you from the power you hold right now in the next chapter. We'll explore how successful people face the past, but never live in it. Number 4, they never waste time on regret. Regret looks back. Responsibility looks forward. The weight of what could have been. Regret is one of the heaviest emotions to carry. It whispers, you should have done more. You missed your chance, you ruined it. There's no coming back. And slowly, it paralyzes you. You spend your energy rewriting a past that no longer exists, while ignoring the power you still have in the present. You can't build your future while staring at your rearview mirror. Why regret is a thief in disguise. At first, regret looks responsible, like you're just reflecting deeply. But stay there too long, and it becomes self-punishment instead of self-awareness. Shame instead of wisdom, excuse instead of action. Regret keeps you emotionally stuck in scenes that can't be changed, while life quietly passes you by. Successful people turn regret into resolve. They don't pretend the past didn't hurt. They don't minimize the consequences. But they also don't dwell. They extract the lesson, forgive themselves, and move forward. They say, what did this teach me? How can I do better next time? Who do I need to become so I never repeat this? The past is a place to learn from, not live in. Real examples, from regret to renewal. Sarah Blakely, founder of Spanx, talks openly about the many mistakes she made early in business. But instead of drowning in regret, she used each failure as fuel for creativity and innovation. Michael Jordan missed over 9,000 shots in his career and lost almost 300 games. Instead of regretting those moments, he called them the reason he succeeded. I failed over and over and over again, and that is why I succeed. It's not what happened that matters, it's how you choose to grow from it. What regret are you still replaying that you can't change? What would happen if you forgave yourself completely? How much life are you missing by looking backward? You are not the mistake. You are the one who lived, learned, and is still evolving. The next practice, rewrite the regret tonight. Write a short letter to your past self. Acknowledge what happened, share what you've learned, release the guilt, and affirm your new direction. End the letter with, I forgive you. I've got us now. We're moving forward. Say aloud, I do not carry regret. I carry wisdom. I carry strength. I carry the future. Tell yourself, the past is a chapter, not the whole book. Don't reread the page. Turn it and write something better. Now that you've dropped the weight of regret, you're ready to step into clarity. Because successful people know emotions are valid, but they're not always accurate. In the next chapter, we'll explore how they honor their emotions, but still let wisdom not waves, guide their path. Number 5. They never let emotions lead decisions. Feelings are real, but they are not facts. They are visitors, not guides. Emotions are powerful, but not always wise. Let's be honest, you've made decisions when angry, and regretted them, sent that message in frustration, and wished you hadn't. You've said yes just to avoid guilt, then felt drained for days. Sound familiar? Emotions are beautiful, necessary, human, but they were never meant to be your compass. They are signals, not steering wheels. Let your emotions inform you, but never let them command you. The cycle of emotional decision-making. Here's how. Most people live, feel, react, regret, repeat. But successful people interrupt that loop. They insert something rare but powerful. Awareness. They still feel deeply, but they wait. They still get triggered, but they reflect. They still face pressure, but they choose response over impulse. Emotional intelligence equals emotional leadership. Emotional maturity isn't about suppressing feelings, it's about leading them. Ask yourself, what am I feeling and why? Is this emotion clouding my clarity? Would my highest self make this decision? When you slow down enough to process, you create space for wisdom to speak. Clarity lives on the other side of the pause. Real examples: mastering emotions in high-stakes moments. Barack Obama, known for his calm under pressure, often paused before answering, not because he lacked confidence, but because he respected the power of the moment more than the pull of emotion. Serena Williams, one of the greatest athletes of all time, didn't win because she never felt frustrated. She won because she learned to channel emotion, not be controlled by it. The difference isn't what you feel, it's what you do. Next, what recent decision did you make emotionally and later regret? What would it look like to pause, breathe, and consult your values before reacting? Where in your life do you confuse emotional urgency with true clarity? You are allowed to feel everything. You are not required to act on it immediately. Practice the emotional filter. Before any big decision or response, ask, what am I feeling right now? Is this feeling temporary or rooted in truth? What would I choose if I waited 24 hours? Affirm aloud, my emotions are valid, but my wisdom makes the decision. Remind yourself, emotions are data, not directions. Let them pass through you, not rule over you. Now that you've learned how to lead emotions rather than be led by them, you're ready for a deeper mindset shift, not fearing failure, but embracing it as part of the journey. In the next chapter, we'll explore why successful people aren't fearless. They've simply made peace with failing forward. Number 6, they never fear failure. Failure isn't the opposite of success, it's part of the path to it. Why most people avoid failure like the plague? Let's be honest, you were taught that failure is bad, that if you fail, that failure means you're not smart, capable, or worthy. So what do most people do? They play it safe, they avoid the risk, they lower the bar so they never fall. But here's the hidden cost. When you fear failure, successful people redefine failure entirely. To them, failure is not shameful, it's essential. It's not something to avoid, it's something to learn from. They know every master was once a beginner who failed often. Every innovation came from experimenting with what didn't work. Every level up requires a series of breakdowns. You don't grow by winning all the time, you grow by breaking, learning, and rising smarter. Real examples, failing forward into greatness. Walt Disney was told he lacked imagination. He was fired from a newspaper job for not being creative enough. Today, his name defines imagination. Thomas Edison famously said, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." His failures led to the light bulb Beyoncé before becoming a global icon, lost on Star Search as a child. She said that moment taught her humility and hunger. Failure didn't destroy them, it sharpened them. What dream have you delayed because you're afraid it won't work? What failure are you still carrying as a wound instead of a lesson? What would shift if you saw failure not as a verdict, but as a mentor? Failure is feedback. Nothing more, nothing less. One more practice: fail on purpose. This week, do something that stretches you so far you might fail. Pitch a bold idea. Launch the project you've overthought. Try a skill you've avoided, and when it doesn't go perfectly, celebrate. Write down, "Here's what didn't work, and here's what I learned." Say aloud, "I don't fear failure. I fear staying stuck in the illusion of safety." Remember, failure is not a threat. Now that you've embraced failure as part of the process, it's time to protect that mindset. And that means being ruthlessly intentional about who and what you allow into your space. Because no matter how strong your vision is, the wrong environment will drain it. Number 7. They never surround themselves with negativity. You become the average of the voices you allow around you. Negativity is contagious, and it's always subtle. You might not notice it at first. A coworker who complains every morning, a friend who doubts every new idea you share, a family member who believes people like us just don't make it. At first, you brush it off, but over time, it seeps in, quietly shaping how you think, act, and believe. Your mind is a garden. Is the weed that will take over if you don't guard the gate? Why environment beats willpower. You can have the clearest goals, the strongest vision, and the deepest hunger, but if your environment is full of doubt, drama, or discouragement, it will wear you down. That's why successful people curate their like sacred ground. They don't just protect their time, they protect their energy, their space, and the voices in their ears. They don't just grow themselves, they grow their soil. Real examples: Ruthless About Energy. Bryant was notorious for distancing himself from people who didn't match his intensity. He once said, "If you're not obsessed with being great, I can't be around you." Oprah Winfrey famously cut ties with longtime friends and family members who constantly projected fear and lack because she understood her peace was her priority. If you want to rise, you need people who breathe oxygen into your fire, not pour water on it. Who do you feel drained after being around? Who supports your growth and who subtly resents it? What energy do you consume daily through conversations, content, and habits? You're not being cruel for setting boundaries. You're being clear about your direction. The next practice, the energy audit. List 3 people or sources of energy in your life who lifts you higher, who drags you down, who keeps you stagnant. Now, make one decision. This week, I will create more space for energy that aligns with who I'm becoming. Say aloud, "I honor my future by protecting my present environment." Remind yourself, you don't owe anyone access to your energy. Not everyone deserves a seat at the table of your transformation. Now that you've cleared the noise around you, it's time to refill that space with something far more powerful: relentless learning. Because while others stop at good enough, the truly successful keep growing, even when no one is watching. Number 8, they never stop learning. The more you learn, the more you realize how much more there is to learn. Complacency is the silent killer of growth. Most people stop learning the moment school ends. They believe their degree is enough. Their experience is enough. Their routine is enough. And that belief, it builds comfort, then stagnation, then quiet decline. The moment you think you've arrived, you stop evolving. Why the successful never settle. Truly successful people are students of life. Always curious, always upgrading. They read, they reflect, they ask better questions, they seek mentors, not just fans. They never think, "I already know this." They ask, "How can I deepen this? What perspective am I missing? Who can challenge the way I think?" They don't just learn to pass tests, they learn to expand their consciousness. Real examples: curiosity over ego. Bill Gates reads over 50 books per year. Despite being one of the richest people on earth, he considers reading his greatest tool for growth. Malcolm X, while imprisoned, read entire dictionaries and volumes of philosophy and history, not for a degree, but for self-liberation. Angela Duckworth, researcher of grit, studied obsessively after already succeeding, because she knew understanding never ends. Learning isn't a phase, it's a lifelong mindset. When was the last time you learned something that challenged your ego? Are you surrounding yourself with ideas that stretch you, or just confirm what you already know? What's one subject or skill you've quietly longed to explore, but haven't dared to begin? You don't need more talent, you need deeper learning. 1. More practice, the lifelong learner's habit. This week, commit to one of the following. Read 10 pages per day of a book that challenges your thinking. Watch one documentary that opens a new perspective. Take one online course or masterclass in a new skill. Journal nightly. What did I learn today? Say aloud, I grow by choice, not by chance. I upgrade daily because I am not done becoming. Tell yourself, every expert was once a curious beginner. Keep learning, keep stretching. The world belongs to those who adapt fastest. Once you've anchored in your own growth, you'll face one final trap of modern life: comparison. Because in a world full of highlight reels and fast success, the most powerful thing you can do is stay grounded in your own timeline. Number 9, they never compare their journey. Comparison is the thief of joy and the killer of momentum. By Theodore Roosevelt, comparison starts quiet, but grows loud at first. It's subtle. They're younger and already more successful. He has more followers, more money, more recognition. She's already there. I'm still figuring things out. Then it becomes louder. Maybe I'm not enough. But here's the truth. Comparison isn't about them. It's about forgetting who you are, why successful people stay in their own lane. High achievers know comparison is a mental virus. It shifts your focus from progress to performance, from purpose to panic. They understand. Every journey is timed differently. Every calling is uniquely crafted. Someone else's win isn't your loss. So instead of comparing, they reflect. Instead of resenting, they respect. Instead of competing, they create. They measure success by alignment, not applause. From comparison to clarity, comparison makes you rush what needs patience, force what needs faith, quit what could have become something beautiful. But when you return to your own path, you reclaim your peace. You say, I'm not behind, I'm in. Process, I'm not late, I'm being prepared. I don't need to win fast, I need to grow strong. Success isn't a race, it's a rhythm. Real examples. Rising without comparing. Tyler Perry built an empire by focusing on Black audiences when no one else in Hollywood cared. He didn't follow trends, he created space for stories that mattered to him. Vera Wang didn't start designing dresses until her 40s. Today, she's one of the most iconic names in fashion because she trusted her timing, not the timeline. Colonel Sanders founded KFC at age 65 after many business failures. Why? Because he didn't compare. He simply started, you're not too early, you're not too late, you're right on purpose. What platform or environment triggers your comparisons? The most. What is one area of your life you constantly measure against others? What might change if you viewed your path as divinely designed, not delayed? You don't need to run faster. You just need to stay on your path, fully present and committed. Another practice, mirror your milestones. Each evening this week, write down one thing you did today that brought you closer to your future. One comparison you'll release, one affirmation to ground yourself. I honor my journey. I trust my pace. I celebrate my growth. Remember, the only timeline that matters is yours. Look within, not sideways. Once you've reclaimed your lane and silenced the noise of comparison, you're ready to commit to what makes progress sustainable: discipline. Because without consistency, even the greatest vision fades. Number 10. They never ignore discipline. Motivation gets you started. Discipline keeps you going. Why most people rely on motivation and fail. Let's be honest, motivation is exciting, but it's fleeting. You feel pumped after a video, a book, a speech, but 3 days later, you're back to procrastination. Why? Because motivation is emotional, but discipline is foundational. Successful people don't wait to feel ready. They do it anyway. Because discipline is a decision, not a mood. Discipline equals self-respect in action. Discipline is not punishment. It's a form of self-loyalty. It says, I honor my future self more than this moment's comfort. I promised myself this, so I follow through. Even when no one's watching, I show up, for me. This is what makes success inevitable. Not luck, not hype, not bursts of energy, but daily devotion to what matters. Discipline turns your intentions into your identity. The discipline loop of high performers. Here's what successful people do. Differently, clarity, they know what truly matters. Commitment, they schedule it, not just talk about it. Consistency, they show up daily, especially when they don't feel like it. Compounding, they trust small actions will build massive results. They don't need perfect conditions, they just need a plan, and their own word, real examples. Living by discipline, David Goggins wakes up before dawn to train every single day. He's known as the toughest man alive, not because of talent, but because of unwavering discipline. Angela Duckworth, author of Grit, discovered that effort over time beats talent. Discipline, not IQ, predicts achievement. Stephen King writes 2,000 words a day, every day. Not when he's inspired, but because it's his practice. Talent may open the door, but discipline is what walks you through it. Where in your life are you still relying on feeling like it? What would shift if you chose to act like the person you want to become, even when it's hard? What one daily action would radically shift your life if you practiced it consistently? Discipline is loving your future self enough to stay committed today. The next practice, discipline, design, ritual, every night. Write the one non-negotiable thing you'll do tomorrow. Why it matters to your long-term self, the exact time and place you'll do it. Say aloud, I don't wait for motivation. I move with discipline, because my life is built by what I choose daily. Talk to yourself. Success is boring before it's brilliant. It's not about feeling amazing every day. It's about choosing what matters every day. Once you've built the habit of discipline, you're ready for a deeper transformation, letting go of who you were to become who you're meant to be. Because success isn't just about doing more. It's about constantly becoming more. Number 11. They never stop reinventing themselves. You are under no obligation to remain the version of yourself that others recognize. Why reinvention is the mark of the truly great. The average person seeks stability. They find a role, a label, a title, then cling to it. But successful people understand. Stagnation hides behind success that no longer grows you. They constantly ask, who am I becoming? What version of me is ready to be born? What identity am I outgrowing? Because they know, if you're not evolving, you're slowly disappearing. Reinvention requires letting go. Here's the hard truth. You can't reinvent yourself without releasing outdated goals, detaching from praise that no longer serves, outgrowing relationships that only know your past self. Reinvention isn't external. It's internal. It's about becoming wider, deeper, freer. And yes, it often means discomfort, shedding. The old is painful, but carrying it is heavier. Real examples, reinvention in action. Michelle Obama moved from lawyer to first lady to best-selling author and speaker. Each shift required her to let go of what the world expected and choose what her soul demanded. Matthew McConaughey left behind romantic comedies to reinvent himself as a dramatic actor, author, and philosopher, because the old version of success no longer fulfilled him. Arnold Schwarzenegger went from bodybuilder to actor to governor. Not because he had to, but because he chose to expand his identity. Reinvention isn't for those who've failed, it's for those who've outgrown what once worked. What part of your current identity no longer reflects who you're becoming? What are you holding on to simply because others expect it of you? If you weren't afraid of letting go, who would you become? You don't need permission to evolve, only the courage to release the version of you that got you this far. Another practice, your next self-exercise. Ask yourself, what am I being called to become? What habits, roles, or labels no longer serve me? What small action today aligns with the next version of me? Say aloud, I honor who I've been. To stay there, I choose who I become starting now. Remind yourself you're allowed to outgrow everything. You're not betraying the past, you're answering the future. Now that you've embraced the art of reinvention, you need a compass that keeps you centered through all seasons. You're bigger. Vision. Because success without direction becomes distraction, and the only way to rise higher is to remember why you started. Number 12. They never forget the bigger vision. Success isn't just reaching the top. It's remembering why you climbed in the first place. The danger of short-term wins without long-term purpose. It's easy to get caught up in metrics, status, milestones, deadlines, external praise. But what happens when you hit the target and feel empty? What happens when you win, but it doesn't feel like victory? That's what happens when success is divorced from vision. A goal gives you a moment. A vision gives you a mission. Why the bigger vision keeps you grounded. Truly successful people may pivot their plans, but their vision stays clear. It becomes their compass in chaos. It fuels resilience and direction. They aren't chasing random accomplishments. They're building something legacy level. When you know the bigger why, you stop getting lost in smaller noise. Real examples, vision over vanity. Martin Luther King Jr. didn't just give speeches. He carried a vision of justice so strong, it outlived him. Elon Musk isn't building cars for money. He's trying to build the future of humanity. Malala Yousafzai didn't just recover from trauma. She transformed her pain into a global mission for girls. Education. The greatest people aren't fueled by ego. They're moved by meaning. Have you been so busy achieving that you forgot what truly matters? To you, what's the vision that still keeps you up at night or calls to you in silence? What would happen if you rebuilt your life around it? You don't need 100 goals. You need one clear vision and relentless alignment with it. The last, practice. Reconnect with your vision. Sit in silence, reflect. Journal your answers. If nothing was holding me back, what would I devote my life to? What kind of impact do I want my work and presence to create? What one small decision today moves me closer to that long-term legacy? Affirm aloud. My vision leads me. My actions align with it. I live with intention, not just ambition. Remember, don't just chase goals, embody a mission. Let your vision be so big. It humbles your ego and awakens your soul. I will tell you the unspoken rules of success. If you've reached this point, you're not just chasing success, you're redefining what it means. You've learned that ownership is stronger than excuses. Discomfort is the gateway to growth. Approval is a distraction from authenticity. Failure is a teacher, not a threat. Discipline is devotion in action and vision. Vision is your inner GPS. Especially when the road disappears, the people who win in life are not the loudest, the fastest, or the most talented. They're the ones who eliminate what doesn't serve and commit to what does. So don't just add more to your life. Subtract what doesn't belong. And in that space, create a future that reflects who you truly are. You don't need permission. You just need the decision. Start today. Start now. Start within.
Thank you for spending this moment with Awaken Light Audio. If something today touched your heart or opened your mind, don't keep it to yourself. Share your thoughts in the comments. What spoke to you most? Tell us about your journey, your questions. Send it their way, because light grows when it's shared. Until next time, stay present, stay awakened, and keep becoming who you're meant to be.